So, what is asthma?
Talk in general terms about asthma. It's an actual chronic inflammation in your airway passages. What on earth does that mean? Chronic. That means recurrent or repetitive. Inflammation means an abnormal increase in size.
How long will it last?
It's a disease that stays with you all your life.
What causes it?
It's an actual increase in the passages of your lung. In a normal case situation, if there are irritable stuff like dust and other objects that enters your lungs along with the air that enters, a slight increase in your airway passages, in your airway passages happens, right? However, in an abnormal situation like asthma, what actually happens is that there is an abnormal increase in the inflammation of your airway passages. This causes sensitivity to irritable stuff.
How will it affect me? Can it be cured?
A person with asthma might not be able to play with other kids. He might not be able to practice certain activities like other kids. He might be able to get tired easily. He may also have a wheezing sound. There's a wheezing sound, right? And there may also be some coughing. You would feel that the coughing is stranger than someone who has a cold or a normal flu. No, it's not curable. Actually, it's not treatable. It stays with you your whole life. And what you actually can do is lessen the sensitivity of your lungs to irritable stuff. I have my teddy bear here. That would help me. How are you, teddy bear? Okay. This is called Ventolin. Ventolin is a bronchodilator. What it does is that, of course, you know that the respiratory system has bronchus and bronchioles, right? So what this actually does is that it dilates or increases in size the actual airway passages so that more air comes in. That's one thing. Second thing is serotype. Serotype is an actual killer of some sensitive cells, the cells that actually feel the sensitivity towards the irritable stuff. It kills them. That's the serotype. It has something called glucocorticoids. You don't need to know that at this level, but this is the actual substance that destroys these cells, right? This is the only two things that you may actually lessen the actual pain that you may have with asthma, but there's no cure.
So what causes an asthma attack?
Okay, in order to understand an asthma attack, it may be quite difficult on your level. So to make things easier and actually simpler, I might here use my teddy bear to actually make a simple representation. Okay, let's try to quickly represent the airway tracts you have by using two Snicker bars. Alright, here's the air that comes in your lungs. It passes between two muscular layers that are the Snicker bars. Alright, the air passes in. Along with the air passing in, there are foreign objects in with the air, right? So the Snicker bars are actually muscular layers that have caramel and nuts inside. What are the caramel? The caramel is the actual mucus secretion which traps in the nuts. What are the nuts? They are the foreign objects, right? So after this, the air passes in and you're normal.
So how does an asthma attack happen?
What happens in an asthma guy? There is no longer a Snicker bar. What is there is an actual معمول bar. What do I mean? I said before that there is a mucus secretion in the Snicker bar, right? Which is the caramel. Now, here it's not caramel, here it's dates. You know what's dates? It's a very thick gelatinous substance, and that's exactly the mucus, which is a lot produced excessively in case of an asthma because he has an excessive sensitivity to irritable stuff, right? So there are the معمول bars, they have a lot of dates, and along with this, so you can actually imagine as the walls get thicker, they're actually closing in, so they're making an inner what you can call spasm that makes the two walls coming closer to each other, minimizing the amount of air that goes into your lung, which causes the coughing, causing the wheezing sound, causes all of the symptoms that you actually see in an asthma guy.
So can you tell me some new treatments of asthma?
Oh, okay. The new treatments. Well, at the beginning I've said that asthma exists as a disease that has no apparent cure. However, recently they have done recent research, Japan of course, not us, they have done a recent research that states that there may be some allergic vaccines that a person who has asthma can take, and that would prevent his sensitivity to irritation, right? Which may lead to a less asthma, and along the time may lead to no asthma at all. But it's still under research. Hope that was beneficial anyway.
So illustrate your experience with asthma.
My name is Haida Ala. As you saw previously, I just got an asthmatic attack. It wasn't that severe, of course, due to too much energy. I felt some wheezing sound, I couldn't breathe well, and I started coughing. So by taking inhalers, I just feel better, and that's all. Thank you.
I'm Aish Nasser, 17 years old. I'm an asthmatic patient. I'm suffering from asthma since I was in grade 3 maybe. They discovered that I had asthma due to some tests in some hospitals. So anyway, up to the point. I'm gonna relate what happened to me last year. We were off to a school event and I was there as an organizer. So anyway, everything was fine and really okay the whole day, and I was okay the whole day. But then once at night, I was watching the show our school was presenting, and there was a man standing beside me and he lighted up a cigarette. So I told him if he could just light up the cigarette, or he could just leave space between me and him so that the smoke wouldn't affect me. He started to mock me and he did not believe me, like he refused to do so. So due to the dusty weather and the crowd and that cigarette, I started to feel dizzy. I felt heart palpitations. I started to shiver and hear that wheezing sound from my lungs as I was breathing. So I asked for help. My friends tried to loosen my scarf so that I could breathe regularly. It did not work. They laid me down and they raised my legs. I did not also feel any better. Then they got me that inhaler that it's called Ventolin. Ironically, when I had that asthma attack before, when I used to have it, when I took this inhaler, I used to feel better, but this time I did not feel any better at all. So it was getting worse, and this whole story was really scary. So they took me to Mrs. Dua Al-Qadi. I would really thank her from my heart for what she did to me this day. She took me to the hospital, and there they gave me what I call this nebulizer for one dose for 15 minutes. I felt okay, but I wasn't that 100% good. So they repeated the dose again, and they gave me another 15 minutes from this nebulizer or oxygen. So this whole 30 minutes made me feel really fine, and I was okay. And this is what happened this day. So I would thank you, Mrs. Dua, for all what you've done this day, and thanks for listening.
الأزمة تحت عنوان كبير obstructive lung disease. أهمهم البرونكال أزمة. لقيت definition of bronchial أزمة resistant to air flow. مع resistant to air flow بيزيد الwork of respiration، بيحصل impaired gas exchange، فبيحصل imbalance between ventilation and breathing. مهم قوي ان انا اعرف الباثوجينيسيس of bronchial أزمة، ودول تحت two type: extrinsic and intrinsic. The extrinsic type is 90% of patient. ومنها الالرجي اللي هو انتيجينيك، زي الضغط، زي البولين، زي فارماكولوجيكال ميديكيشن خدوا البيشنت. والموست كومن ميديكيشن تريجر تو ازمه الاسبرين. عندي الانترنسيك ازمه، ودي بتبقى موست كومن افكت الادلت بيشنت. دي نون انتيجينيك زي الانفكشن، اكسرسايز، سايكولوجيكال بروبلم. عندي في الالرجيك ازمه، بيبقى عباره عن لو انا عملت للبيشنت سكين رياكشن هلاقيه بوزيتيف، بيزيد معاها الليفل اوف اميونوجلوبولين اي، ودي موست كومن. لوكال ريليز اوف كيميكال ميدياتور، اهمهم الهستامين، هو اكتر من حاجه بس اهمهم الهستامين. عندي على الجانب الاخر الانترنسيك ازمه، دي اوفر اكتيفيتي للباراسمباثيك نيرفس سيستم. التو تايب اوف ازمه نفس الاند اوف باثوي، هايبر irritable انفلاماتوري اير واي، والتو تايب هيعملوا للبيشنت برونكوس بس. مهم قوي بعد ما عرفنا التو تايب اوف ازمه هنقدر ازاي فكرتنا ان احنا نعالج المريض. بيجي المريض في المرحله الاولى بروتكشن، ان يعرف الالرجي بتيجي من ايه عشان يقدر يتجنبها. تاني مرحله الهستامين ريليز، ان انا بستعمل المريض ده بروتكشن. اخيرا البرونكوس بازم لازم نستعمل برونكو دايليتور. احنا عندنا برونكو كونستريكشن، في سبازم عايزه اعمل له دايليتيشن. في السيفير ازمه ما بينفعش دولت، البيشنت بيبقى طبعا معاه في البيت ما بيعملوش اي افكت سريع، فبيضطر المريض بيروح للمستشفى. بنبدا احنا عندنا نيوبلايزر بنستعمله وبنوصله باكسجين وبيرتاح معاه المريض، لان احنا بنحط له اكتر من حاجه، منها الفنتولين اللي هو كان موسع شعب، ومنها كورتيكوستيرويد برضو بس بيبقى بطرق معينه. اكتر حاجه في الموضوع ده ان انا اشوف خطوه خطوه خطوه، عشان حاجه مهمه جدا مع الديفيكالت اوف ريسبيريشن اللي بيحصل مع البرونكوس باس بيحصل ريسبيراتوري فاتيج. الريسبيراتوري فاتيج دي اند باي ريسبيراتوري فيلير، فانا في كل المراحل اللي انا ببدا اتعامل معاها ان انا ما اوصلش المريض للريسبيراتوري فيلير، وده بيبقى مرحله سيئه جدا لان انا ابدا اعالج فيها المريض. شكرا.
محمد فينك؟
انا هنا.
بتعمل ايه؟
مش عارف والدي جايبالي ايس كريم من كون زون، جايبالي تركيش بيتزا، مش عارف ادتني بلطو بابا وقلم بابا، مش عارف هي عايزه مني ايه.
I'm Aris Nasser, 17 years old. I'm an asthmatic person. Patient.
Honey doctor, what's the new treatments of asthma?
Scary, because nothing would work for me.